back to One Bar and Lupagus Show. I'm Lupagus here with One Bar, and it's time to reach deep into our sacks and pull out your questions that you mailed to us via United States Postal Service. It's mailbag time.
Yeah, we should really invest in some mail caps for this episode. We do this far too often to not have a mail uniform.
I'm wearing my mail uniform right now.
Well, that's not it's not approved by the USPS, but a lot of good questions. We're going to get into it. Before any of that, remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video, here every damn day talking Vikings. Let's get to 5,000 subs. Hashtag skull in your hole in the comments. Let's do this.
Sometimes we're here more than once a day.
Yeah, I know. Lately, we've been here 9 times a day, and it's been fantastic. It's a great time of the year, a time of hope for Minnesota Vikings.
Time of moving on as well. So putting the past behind us, looking forward to the future.
All right, well, let's just do it. A lot of questions. I even had to take out a couple just because there were so many. I mean, some questions about like Jeff Fisher possibly coming to the Vikings head coach. Come on, we know that's not happening. So.
Jeff Fisher, Jesus.
A couple random ones, but they were still good. Let's do this. First one, any thoughts on a Cousins, Kirk Cousins for a player instead of a pick, like a great D tackle or O lineman or cornerback? So the thought is Cousins for draft picks, but what about a beautiful player?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a player that's going to fill one of your biggest needs, whether that's, an edge rusher or a top flight cornerback, somebody like that, yeah, I could see it. You don't see a lot of player for player deals in the NFL, so it would be pretty rare to see something like that pulled off. But at least if you're trading player for player, you're going to get somebody who has proven history. It's not going to be a crapshoot, no chance of a bust. So I'd be fine with that, I guess.
I'd be fine with that. I just don't think it's very realistic. I mean, I think the whole point of getting rid of Cousins is to get rid of that salary. So they say great player, so it sounds like a great big salary too. So I'm not a fan. Let's get the draft picks.
All right, next question.
Do you think the Vikings with a new head coach and a new GM could make the playoffs next year if they kept Kirk Cousins?
Do you?
Yeah. This one's pretty easy for me. Absolutely. I mean, Kirk Cousins, we know he's good enough to make the playoffs. Let's get an offensive coordinator here that maybe calls plays that potentially gives us a chance for a first down and fresh start. But absolutely, this team's talented enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think he had a different coach this year, you probably make the playoffs. So absolutely no reason to think he wouldn't make it next year with a new guy calling the plays, better clock management, better overall decisions, a guy who's actually going to pay attention to every facet of the game and not just the defensive side of football, which was horrible.
Wow. All right. Well, we just got upset there for a minute. You can tell plays calls are burning up his ass.
They are.
A little draft talk here. Is there any Golden Gophers in the coming draft that you'll be stoked if the Vikings draft them?
I mean, what's the highest ranked one is the offensive tackle.
That is Daniel Falele to you.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling a huge need for the Vikings. So nobody I'm really super stoked about. There's no Antoine Winfield Jr. this year, no Tyler Johnson, at least in my book. I don't know, maybe I'm missing somebody or forgetting somebody, but to me, no.
No, there was a handful of guys that went back for their senior year. And Falele, a right tackle, ginormous, as much as this guy fits the mold that I love, like 400 pounds, 6'9", raw, but we got a right tackle, and he's fantastic. And Falele, I think he's projected in like second round. So, yeah. Little too early for us, as much as I'd love him.
It's just not a need position, right tackle. We're set.
All right, let's see here. Playoff predictions. Not so much Vikings, but not so much who you think is going to win the Super Bowl, but just playoff prediction. Which teams advance? Which teams go home?
Why don't you go ahead and start that one? I think it's your turn.
Yeah, I'm not going to go in too much depth. I'll say a team that I think is going to be sneaky is the Bengals. I can't wait to watch them today at 3:30. And I think the Cowboys are going to have a very early exit. I think the Niners are going to surprisingly beat the shit out of them, which would be good news for the Vikings because then Kellen Moore is just completely available to talk to, and we can do whatever we want with them. So those are really my predictions.
I'm going to predict round one. I'm going to say Bengals over the Raiders, Patriots over the Bills, Bucks over the Eagles. I'm also going to go 49ers over the Cowboys, Chiefs over the Steelers. I'm going to take the Rams over the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'll say I think the Cardinals beat the Rams. I think Matt Stafford is going to be one and done. But I'll say this, the playoffs, I think there's going to be some sneaky ass upsets. I can't wait.
There could be. And the Cardinals are really limping into this thing, losing 5 of their last 6 or 4 of the last 5, something crazy like the Vikings that one year where they backed their way in the playoffs. This was back in the Mike Tice era, I think it was, and we somehow still beat the Saints in round 1. But
nothing better than beating the Saints When do you think the new head coach GM will be hired?
Actually, I'm starting to think the GM's we're gonna hear next week sometime. Maybe Wednesday, 2:37. I think it's gonna be announced. That's my guess.
You're close. I was gonna say about Wednesday at about 11:34 a.m. And it's gonna be a good one. We're gonna get very excited.
Yeah, I think the coach is a question, because if you're really looking for somebody who is staying in the playoffs, you're gonna have to wait till that's over. So maybe you have a under the table agreement or something like that. Maybe you shook on it or yanked on it, something special. But I don't think that might not be announced for a couple more weeks, depending on how far that coach goes in the playoffs, if he is a playoff coach.
All right. Let's see. If you could pull any Vikings player from all time to play for the Vikings next season, who would it be? I always love this question. I always love it.
I know, and I'm always torn. It's always the same two for me. Honestly, though, but
Nothing.
As much as I always want Randy Moss to come back, I think the player that helps this team the way they are right now the most would be Jared Allen. Him coming off the edge, creating that pressure, fixing the defense on every single level, consistent pressure, and also the fire he brings. That defense needs an injection of excitement, of enthusiasm. Start having some damn fun. Nobody else can bring all those things to the table the way Jared Allen can. So I think right now, the way this roster is, I would go Jared Allen.
I guess I can't disagree with that. He wasn't really, it always comes down to Randall McDaniel, Randy Moss, or John Randall. So those three guys, as much as I love them, I'm going Randy Moss. Just going Randy Moss. Let's just put up the most points. Our defense can suck as bad as it can be, as bad as it wants. We got Randy Moss and Justin Jefferson. I have dirty underpants if that's the case.
Yeah, it's very hard not to go with Randy Moss. But yeah, I mean, my all-time favorite Viking right there.
All right, next one, Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's. I've honestly never heard of Raising Cane's. I'm a fool, but it's Chick-fil-A and it's not even close. Just because I've never even had Raising Cane's, but that Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah, I almost got Raising Cane's last weekend, but I didn't. So I haven't had it either. So I can't really say, as far as chicken sandwich versus chicken sandwich, but that Chick-fil-A sauce is a separator. You can now buy it at Super One, and I put that on every damn sandwich that I make now.
Wow. What about an egg sandwich?
Hell, you put on everything. I sometimes just use it as lotion.
All right, Lepagus, what players should we be watching in the Senior Bowl as potential Vikings?
Wow, that's a good, actually good question. That is announced, but quarterbacks shouldn't be there yet.
Yeah, whole roster is February 5th.
And who are the quarterbacks?
Well, pull it up. We got Kenny Pickett, we got Sam Hall, the pretty much standard good quarterbacks. I mean, are you just going to say a quarterback?
Well, I'm thinking Kenny Pickett. That's the one. Because here's the thing: these quarterbacks are going to rise. You're holding a 12th pick. There's Corral, maybe the one who goes in the top 10. So you got to find that guy who's going to rise to that mid range. And if you're really dead serious about using that 12th pick on a quarterback, you want to go in depth. You want to know what this guy's about. You want to spend a week with him, interviewing him, see him in practice every single day. So you have to decide, number one, if you want to go quarterback and if that's the guy for you. It's the most important position in football. So definitely the quarterback is what I'm looking at. And Pickett's the one that comes to mind.
All right, you're going quarterback.
Kenny Pickett.
All right, I got I had Kenny Pickett as well. Great year for all the quarterbacks, prospects to go there. They need to show their worth. They need to prove that they are the top one, because there's a lot of question marks there. But also Tariq Woolen, cornerback from Texas San Antonio, 6'4", 205, athletic, former receiver. I love those big, ginormous cornerbacks. I love that he's from a small school. David Morgan as well went there. Win. So I'll be watching the shit out of him. And the best thing is he's like a mid-round guy. Mid-round quarterbacks are 6'4". Get me very excited. Very excited. Also, Zion Johnson, guard from Boston College. Comparisons to Elgin Jenkins, which is always a good thing. Probably a second-round pick. Played tackle, played guard. And he is a former small school, went to Davidson, transferred to Boston College. Another thing that I absolutely love in high risers. So I'm always looking at guards. I'm going to be looking at quarterbacks, defensive tackles. But this Senior Bowl it's going to be a good one. There's some good players.
Yeah, I actually got a lot of flack in my mock yesterday for not taking Zion Johnson in round 2. I went quarterback and receiver because I felt I had to. But yeah, definitely hard to pass him up. And there's also that Lindstrom kid playing. Alec, is he going to be at the Senior Bowl?
I'm not sure.
Center. You hate to look draft a center very high again after what happened with Bradbury, but you got to find somebody who can sit and anchor and fend off these big, mean ass nose tackles that Bradbury can't handle. And if that's your guy, maybe look for him at the Senior Bowl as well.
Yeah, we'll be getting hot and heavy into the Senior Bowl here in the coming weeks, going over prospects, Vikings they should take. I'm just getting in the tip of the iceberg. Also, East-West Shrine game is on a Thursday this week. It's on February 3rd. So something to keep in mind. Very weird.
That is very, very strange. And, let's not forget now, Rick Spielman, he's not here anymore, and he loved drafting players from the Senior Bowl. So we'll see what the new GM does.
Yes, sir. That's it. That's our mailbag. Our mailbag is empty. Let us know in the comments if there's guys in the Senior Bowl that you're looking forward to and all the other questions as well. And we'll be back probably sooner than you want.
Absolutely sooner than you want, sooner than anybody wants. Remember this before we come back, though. First of all, keep your skull in your hole. Number 2, baby elephants don't learn to control their trunks until they're about a year old. Just flopping around.